LIEnette is about to declare on the public record that her brain is broke. It doesn't work. It's busted since she was a child. Therefore, she can't remember pertinent, important legal things in her federal bankruptcy deposition, where she is on the line trying to save a beautiful piece of property, a legacy for a daughter who's almost 7 and still in diapers. The physical ailment isn't owned by the child. The physical ailment is LIEnette. LIEnette is halfway through her deposition, where her attorney, Saran Wrap, has asked Randy, can we please go on a break so he can attempt to try and get his client, LIEnette, Lacey, Alexis, Ruby, Clara. Clara's coming up. Do you guys know about Clara yet? Clara's coming up. Alexis, Corrados, Preston, Wilson, it goes on and on, right? Trying to get her under control. She is constantly interrupting, screaming, yelling, and vile, hostile. And those are just few descriptive words. So halfway through this deposition, where LIEnette does show up on time at 8:30, Saran Wrap goes, can we take a break on the record? Can we take a break? Randy goes, okay, let's take about a 5-minute break. Saran Wrap specifically asked for this because she's out of control yet again. A deputy, the head bailiff, Rex, was already brought back to the deposition room, and he checked on Randy, and he said, everything cool? Everything was cool. He says, yep, I'm working it out right now with her lawyer. Now, LIEnette's story is way different, and maybe we're going to find out why her story is always different than reality, because her brain is broke. She's going to state this on the record under oath. Her brain done broke. Can't remember reality. Can't recall things. Let's get right back into it. After the break, by the way, there are 3 other episodes, maybe 4. Honestly, I'm not even sure at this point because this is so insane. They are all in alignment by date. You can go back. One is released right after the other. And by the way, YouTube dates everything in multiple places. There's like 3 different places where you can find dates on videos and follow in alignment, not to mention playlists, which now become shows. Randy states, all right, we're back on the record. Is everybody here? And Saran Wrap goes, I'm here. Goes, Kevin, Jeremy. I go, I'm here. Now, I have my camera off and I have my microphone muted. I unmute and I'm frivolously taking so many ridiculous notes, it's insane. And the ones that we've already gone over are all in here. I think it might be time to get a new garbage bag because there's so many notes. This is crazy. Okay. He goes, okay, well, we're about to start again. We've been on a 5-minute break. We broke at 9:38, and we gave it a full 5-minute break. So let's go back on the record. You understand, when you're on the record, this is under oath. This is going to be used in the trial, and she is going to trial. Everything she said, everything she lied about, she perjured herself, it's all going to trial. Okay. So Randy says, we're back on the record. Here we go. Almost like Gotham, right? This is Miss Preston. Did you discuss your testimony with anyone during the break? She snaps back. No, I did not. Because this became an interesting point afterwards, because she stated through Fat Toothless Fleece Flea that she went out to the vehicle to get documentation with Crook, which means she discussed this with Crook, which this is going to come up in the trial. Again, we should all thank Fat Toothless Fleece. Namaste. You pathetic excuse for a human being. Okay, here we go. She goes, no, I did not. Goes, again, ma'am, I need you to look at me so I can judge your credibility. Okay? And with a nasty, vile look, she finally starts looking up at him again. He goes, okay, I'm going to start giving you a list of names, in addition to the one that's on the deed. Now, we already know the deed apparently is LIEnette MLA Preston. Interesting. That she didn't sign. She claims the government officials put that inappropriately on the deed because she never told them to put the name on that like that. Nope. And on her driver's license, it actually has her legal name. This is a huge issue. Legal issue. Massive issue for LIEnette. By the way, somebody's name is missing from that official deed as well. That crook. Okay. Again, ma'am, I'm going to need you to look at me, okay? Did you talk to anybody? I'm going to go through some names, in addition to the one that's on the deed, that says LIEnette MLA Preston. I'm going to give you some other names, Randy says. And I want to know if you've ever used these names. Have you ever, on any documents, legal documents, used these names? She starts looking away again. Randy has to constantly tell her through this deposition, you need to look at me. Randy's trying to judge whether she's lying or not. Credibility. He needs to see the nonverbals. And the nonverbal we're getting right now is complete, pathetic lies. By the way, this is in the transcripts. This will be in the court. She won't even make eye contact. What do you think that communicates to the judge? I need you to look at me so I can judge your credibility. She goes, I am. No, you're not. You're looking over there. Now look at me. I am. Oh, LIEnette. I hope she's getting that van ready to go down by the river because she ain't staying on the property. Okay. Have you ever gone by the name Lynette Michelle Lacey with the initial of A, Carados? Okay. I know I'm pronouncing it incorrectly. Don't worry. We're going to get to the correct pronunciation. She goes, Lynette Michelle Lacey Alexis Carados was a married union. Who in the world says that they were in a married union when asked about their name? Oh, are you sure this wasn't a paramour? We were in a married union. Yes. Randy says, are you finished? She goes, I'm trying to make sure that I'm making it absolutely right in my mind. And we're going to learn a lot about her twisted mind in just a little bit. Whether I changed my name back then or not. Okay. She goes, I believe it was under Lacey. Oh, yes, Lacey. Lacey. The lunatic. To the best of my knowledge. Okay, so how do you even say that name, Carados? And LIEnette pronounces it the correct way, which is interesting considering it's LIEnette, right? I mean, who would ever think she could get anything correct? I mean, she couldn't even answer what her legal name is. She still hasn't answered what her legal name is in all reality. And she says it's pronounced this way. And Randy goes, that's a Greek name, isn't it? She goes, yes. He goes, thank you. When you used that name, Carados, again, I don't remember exactly how to pronounce it. So LIEnette did pronounce it in a way that I had not heard it pronounced before. I cannot recall how she pronounced it. Sorry. Maybe some of you can do some phonetics and figure it out. Okay. He goes, did you ever use the initials MLA, ALM, LML, anything with that last name of Carados? And she goes, my name that I would use is LIEnette. Yeah, Lynette Michelle Lacey Alexis. He goes, well, did you ever shorten just the Alexis part to just an A? I don't know. She's making eye contact now, at least, right? Okay. I don't know. I don't know. To shorten it up, I might have, but I don't know. She's going on and on. I mean, this entire thing, you have to understand, there's this hostility with her. Randy just wants to know what her name is and what her legal name is. We're in an hour and a half, coming up on 2 hours, just trying to figure out what her legal name is. Insanity. Complete and total insanity. Like, this is crazy. All right. He goes, okay, well, you've had a driver's license all your life, correct? She says, yes. Of course, she wasn't nice about it. He goes, in all of the driver license that you've ever had, did any of them have initials on them? She goes, well, I'm not sure if the Iowa one did or not. Okay, so now we're back into Iowa. You realize she has burned every bridge. She's been in California, Iowa, Florida. She goes, bounces Germany. She's been kicked out of Germany. She goes place to place to place to place, burns every bridge with her scams and her cons, then changes her name and goes to another place. Same thing she was doing as she burnt every bridge in Northport, Florida, then coming to Otter Creek, trying to scam and con me and George. I don't know. I believe my social security card does. Randy goes, did you hear me ask anything about your social security card? She goes, no, but I'm just... He goes, I asked about your driver's license. You realize she's trying to say so much garbage. He just wants a yes or no. That's it. So have you ever gone by the name of Michelle Bennett? She goes, yes, I was married to William Bennett. Ooh, thank you, Randy says. By the way, Randy's been extremely polite through this entire process, even though he is not met with politeness. And I would say that in a deposition, you're not required to be polite. You are required to be professional. And I've failed in my deposition with Deuce. I don't believe I ever should have been put in a position where I was being deposed by the person that I was actually suing. Something broke with the law system, with a fool that literally put in writing that his entire goal was to destroy my empire. My life, my loves, my friends, my employees, their lives, everybody who's associated with me. You realize he put in writing. I mean, he's a lawyer. What do you think the first thing a lawyer is going to tell you to do? Don't put things like that in writing. How stupid can you be? And he is fighting for his law license right now. And he's going to lose it. He's got a pretty good hearing coming up here in just a matter of days. All right, so he goes on to say, have you ever gone by the name Michelle Bennett? Yes, I was married. Have you ever used the name Clara? Clara Wilson. She goes, no, I've never used Clara at all. Clara is not my name, no. That's odd, because we have documentation of her calling herself L, just the letter L for LIEnette, Clara Wilson. Now she's perjured herself under oath yet again. We have it all. We're not asking any questions that we don't know the answers to. And when I say we, I do mean Randy. Randy represents me. So it's a team effort, even though Randy is pulling 100% of the weight. He's doing the work. I get to be a spectator. And frankly, it's best that way. So she goes, no, I've never used that name. And he goes, okay, have you ever used the name Lacey Preston just by itself? She goes, yes. All right. Only part of your name? Why would you only use part of your name, Lacey Alexis? She goes, well, sometimes I just shorten my name up. All that needs to be said is Lacey Alexis. That's weird, because on the deed in Otter Creek, it says MLA. It doesn't even say Lacey, doesn't even say Alexis. There's a L and an A. Now we're really shortening it up, especially for somebody who says that E makes Lacey so pretty. By the way, I think I was mistaken because I was going through my notes in preparation. And I said in the beginning that she mentioned that E was so pretty in her name. It's not till halfway through that she actually mentions, I'm pointing to my notes. It's not until halfway through she mentions that the E makes her name so pretty, and that's why she added the E to Lacey. Okay. So Randy goes on to say, I think you said your name was LIEnette Michelle Lacey Alexis. She goes, Lacey is too long to use it in every instance. Okay, Randy says, when you say that, does that mean sometimes you use the initials, sometimes you don't? She agrees, yeah. You understand the legal implication here? Who is she? Seriously, who is this person? You are identified legally by your name. There's only one. You don't get to change it up on every legal document. It is the same exact thing. Who is this monster? This vile, horrific, horrible excuse for a human being? Who says some of the most hideous things about her paramour Crook, about people who are on the property trying to help her. Lloyd, for example. Same person that wants the toothless fat fleece of flea in jail. Recorded with permission by LIEnette, which will be played in the deposition in the federal courthouse as this depo is going to be redone. And you will hear on the recording, she gives 100% permission. Well, she'll hear it. We might have a Muppet show. Okay. Randy goes, it's important when you're looking at property records. And this is what I'm trying to tell you. Every time you change even one of the initials, you shorten it, and others, you put the full name, it changes the record results. Do you understand that? And do you understand that we are talking about property records here? So it's extremely important. And you would think she would understand the gravity of this. She is literally going to lose everything in her life thanks to the genius of Deuce. And those who have all frauded her. Okay. He goes, I'm not harassing you, as you like to continue to say. I'm trying to get to the truth. That's what we need, the truth. I did searches, and I see lots of names. So I've got to go and reach every single one of them. We're going to pull them up and say, is this you? We're going to reach in, pull it up. Is this you? Reach in, pull it up. Is this you? All right, so you said Lacey Preston. How about Lacey Bennett? Did you go by Lacey Bennett? Have you ever used that name? I don't recall. All right, how about the name LIEnette Michelle Carados? With no other names? Possibly. How about the name LIEnette L. Preston? LIEnette A. Preston? Yeah, okay. Well, no, I don't believe so. No, I wouldn't have used LIEnette Michelle Lacey Alexis or MLA. Randy goes on to ask, and when you would use Lacey, how did you spell it? Is it L-A-C-Y or is it L-A-C-E-Y? Here it goes. Here's where we finally get the answer that I've been alluding to. When I changed my name, it was L-A-C-Y. I have too many teeth. I have them all. This is weird. My impressions are off. I'm sorry. And she goes, it was L-A-C-Y, but I used L-A-C-E-Y because it's prettier. Please help me understand this. So you legally change your name to L-A-C-Y. And then because you think an E in the name is actually prettier, you start using L-A-C-E-Y. You understand this is completely and totally illegal. Any document she signed, if Lacey was her actual legal name, L-A-C-Y, and then she added an E later, all of this is garbage. It's all illegal. Randy goes, when did you use L-A-C-E-Y? She goes, well, I've always used it from the time I did it. Genius answer. Genius. My goodness. The mental capacity of these people are just astounding. They're going to save the world, no doubt. Because when asked a question, when did you start using it? The answer is, well, when I started. That's when I started. When I did it. Perfect. That's going to fly well in federal court. Randy goes on. Are you saying you never used LIEnette Preston or you did? She goes, well, times when I did it, yeah. So she did. LACY Preston, LACEY Preston. He goes, thank you. By the way, again, Randy is thanking her when he actually gets an answer, which is so rare. Okay. So you used the name LECEY. Did you use LACEY with the letter A, Preston, in the past? So Lacey A. Preston. I don't recall. All right. That's a fair answer, which Randy's already told her from the beginning. We want a yes. We want to no. If you don't recall, just say you don't recall. You don't remember. Because we all want the same thing, truth, which you're going to find out here real quick. She's got mental brain problems. She can't remember these things. Even though she told Judge Grudge, that's how her brain works. She can remember everything. That is recorded in court under oath as well. So you have her telling Judge Grudge in Levy County that her brain works and she can remember everything. And then in this instance, I'm foreshadowing. You'll see. All right. That's a fair answer. How about the name LIEnette Michelle Lacey Griffey? Yes. Again, wasn't polite saying yes. There's a whole bunch to it. And Randy asks, how about Lacey Bennett? She goes, who knows? Obviously, it's her name. LIEnette should know, right? I mean, 40 plus names. I think she would keep track of every single one of them. Where she was, who she scammed, who she fled. All right. Michelle Griffey. She says, yes, possibly. And Randy asks, when you spelled Michelle, did you sometimes spell it Michell? She goes, no, my name is Michelle, Michelle. Remember, the extra E makes it pretty. Hold a second. I have 2 E's in my name. I must be pretty. And there's one in Hales. I'm triple pretty. Oh, I'm going to be so pretty. So pretty. All right. When you used Michelle, did you ever spell it Miche? At this point, LIEnette is going crazy and interrupting Randy. I don't even remember what she's mumbling, she's screaming, whatever. And Randy goes, again interrupting. There it is, again. Let me finish my question and again look at me. Did you ever use the name LIEnette, Michelle, Griffey? Did you spell Michelle as Michell with no E? She says yes. Well, that just changed it from the previous answer, didn't it? How about LIEnette L. Carados? She goes, no, I've never used that name before. Okay. So if I show you a document that has LIEnette L. Carados with the signature saying LIEnette L. Carados, that's not you? You realize we have documents with every single one of these aliases. Every single. We're not asking, Randy's not asking any question he doesn't know the answer to already. We have everything. She goes, I couldn't see myself using LIEnette L when my name is LIEnette Michelle. Maybe the L makes it prettier. Lacey, Alexis. So are you saying I look weird with all these letters? I can't help that. But no, I've never intentionally done that. To the best of my knowledge. Randy replies, no, I'm talking about a signature. I'm talking about a legal document. So if I show you a document that has the name LIEnette L. Carados and a signature with the initial L, that's not you? She goes, I would say not. No. Randy goes, okay, so you would say no. We already have the documents. She goes, I would not sign a legal document using LIEnette L when that's not my name. Who knows what this woman's name is in the first place? How does Crook not screw it up, going from Ruby to Alexis to... from LIEnette when she comes into Otter Creek. Then she wants to change it to Michelle. Nobody, including the government, apparently, knows what this woman's legal name is. Randy says, have you ever gone by LIEnette M. Wilson? Yes. Have you ever gone by LIEnette Michelle Lacey A. Cook? Yes. A with an initial. Here we go again. Have you ever gone by LIEnette Michelle Lacey? It just goes on and on and on, right? Have you ever gone by LIEnette Michelle Lacey initial A. Cook? Have you ever gone by LIEnette Michelle Lacey Barber? I mean, there's so many. I couldn't even keep them all, right? Have you ever gone by LIEnette M. Griffey? The answer is yes to all of them. I mean, he is just going off. There's so many. I can't go through all 40 plus. And we might have way more. Last I knew, there's 41, and Randy may even have more than that right now. But there was just so many. I could only get every other one. Okay. He goes, have you ever signed something on a legal document that uses the initial L? Clara Wilson. Remember, she's married to Wilson. L. Clara Wilson. LIEnette Clara Wilson. We already have the documents. She goes, no! Randy goes, okay. If I show you a document that says the signature, it says to put your signature underneath or above this area, and it's typed out L. Clara Wilson under that signature. That's not you? She goes, no. Okay, how about, by the way, we already know it's her. We already have it. You know that. I know that. So Clara, if you haven't known Clara, Clara is one of her names as well when she was married to Wilson. How about the name Lacey Griffith? She admits yes. So when you say yes to all of these questions, have you gone by all of these names, correct? Yes. Ever gone by the name Lacey A. Wilson? Her answer is initially yes. You ever gone by LIEnette Michelle Lacey A. Preston? Yes. Yes. More yeses, more names. Randy says, who are you? Why are you shortening everything up? She says, sometimes the courts, the legal documents, it just doesn't fit. There's not enough room, and I have to go type it in, and it won't let me go full Alexis. I have to shorten it up to an A. And he goes, okay, we'll get to those letters and shortening it up later, especially with Lacey. Have you ever gone by Lacey Alexis Wilson? Yes. You ever used the name LIEnette? With Alexis Lacey Wilson, Lacey? Yes, yes, yes. Okay, if we're going by the name, Randy says, I think I asked you this. Pardon me if I did. Randy can't even keep straight how many names. Again, politeness. He's thanking her. Apologies. If I asked this already, which there was, I recall he did say, hey, I asked you about this one already. Look, we don't have to ask that one. There's so many. If I'm asking you this already, we're switching documents here. By the way, we have all these documents. Lawyers have the documents. Kevin has it. Saran Wrap has it. LIEnette's looking at it. Randy has it. I have it. So have you ever gone by LIEnette M. Barber? I think you said yes, right? She says yes. LIEnette M. CROOK. She goes yes. The name Lacy, Lacy Griffey. It's possible. It's possible. No E. I guess she wasn't pretty back then. When you say it's possible, Randy says, is it more likely than not? I'm not sure. I could have forgotten the E, or I could have written it quickly. I don't know. It's possible. Okay. How about the name LIEnette Michelle Bennett? Yes. LIEnette Michelle Preston? Yes. All right. Now we're talking about this deed for the property here in question here. And you said that you gave your driver's license to the Bennett Law Center, who she claims remember, when she said she bought the property in Otter Creek, she claimed she had a lawyer doing the title work. Then, just shortly after, she said she did not have a lawyer, that Bennett Law Firm was the lawyer for the sellers, and they did everything. Then, so she blamed the inappropriate, the non-legal name being on the title on Bennett Law Firm. Then she blamed it on the government workers who typed it in as MLA instead of her actual name. So she's blamed everybody except for herself. Gee, this reminds you of anybody? Oh, Crook, FLEASE, Deuce, Marli Huge, Stupid Lame, Bonehead. Well, I can think of some others in my life as well that have tried to take advantage of me and have taken advantage of me and my generosity and it's always somebody else's problem. They start the situation, they start the circumstance, they start the fight, they start the battle, they start the war, and then they cry like crazy when they're held accountable to the consequences of it. There are consequences, and they are major. So Randy goes, you said you gave your driver's license to Bennett Law Firm and they shortened your name on their own from LIEnette Michelle, Lexus, Lacy, Preston, Clara, whatever, to MLA Preston. I think LIEnette MLA Preston, I think is what's on there. From the recorder's office. Keep that in mind. Recorder's office. He goes, is that your testimony? She goes, well, they may have asked me, what do you want on here? I go by LIEnette MLA. That's what I tell everyone. Randy goes, okay, so your testimony is that when getting this deed prepared, and they asked what you want on here. So your testimony is, when you're getting the deed prepared and they asked what you want, they said, do you want to put MLA Preston, yes or no? She goes, I don't know. You don't recall? Because that's the reason I'm asking. She goes, I'm not sure. He goes, so it had nothing to do with your driver's license, showing your driver's license to anybody, which she already said under testimony, under oath, that her driver's license has everything written out. It's LIEnette Michelle, Lacy, Alexis, Preston on her driver's license. That's what she shared. One of the... I believe if you do the mathematical equations, somebody figured this out online, there's over 2,000 variations of all of the names and the changes that she has done, and there's probably even more than that. Randy goes, what do you need to know to be sure? What is it that you're going to need so that you can be sure? She goes, I'm not. Get this. Because at the beginning of the entire deposition, the very first question, Ms. Preston, is there any medical issues or any medications that you're on that would affect your ability to answer these questions or recall any information today, to remember? And she says, no. Here we go. She goes, I have post-traumatic stress disorder. My brain doesn't work like maybe yours does or maybe hers does. I don't recall dates. Now, hers meaning the court reporter. I don't recall dates, which Fat Toothless Flea says she's already contacted the court reporter. How in the world is she going to contact the court reporter? Why does she continue to lie to people when she doesn't even know who the court reporter is? LIEnette doesn't even know who the court reporter is. The stupidity from these fools, these freaks, these felons. She goes, I have post-traumatic stress syndrome. My brain doesn't work like maybe yours does or hers does. I don't recall dates. I don't recall some things. It escapes me, so I don't know, okay? She's already stated under oath she has no issues, no medical issues. Now she's lying under oath, saying she's had post-traumatic stress disorder, so she can't recall anything. Then she's going to go further in the deposition and recall every detail about an hour-long conversation with the Levy County engineer about turd purgatory. So like her name, what's real and what's a lie? All of it? It's about to get spicy. Gonna get hot in here. Randy says, early in this deposition, I asked you to tell the truth, right? She goes, I am telling the truth. Randy goes, okay. Now remember, I'm paraphrasing. Everything's not word for word. I'm paraphrasing, but he goes, I asked you a question earlier in this deposition. I said, are you currently taking any medications? Do you have any medical conditions that might affect your ability to recall events? And you said no, right? She goes, I have PTSD. I thought it was PSTDs. We all know where she met Crook. Randy then goes, okay, so now you're identifying as you have a medical condition. She goes, sir, I am not a schizophrenic. Who brought up schizophrenic? Now, I believe 100% she's bipolar. I have no doubt whatsoever she's schizophrenic. I have no doubt whatsoever with all these names and all these personalities and all these different things. And my personal opinion, take it or leave it, there is something so off about this individual. She goes, I am not schizophrenic or anything like that. That's what I thought you were asking about. He goes, no, I'm asking about medical conditions. You identified having a condition called post-traumatic stress disorder. Yes, I did, sir. And I don't believe that post-traumatic disorder is medical. Though I use this term loosely. Did I almost say lacely? I use this term lacy with an E. No E. Loosely. This woman now wants to say post-traumatic stress disorder isn't medical, as she's telling the world, nay, the planet, about the life-threatening medical conditions that a child has, who is almost 7 and still in a diaper. The condition this child has is the caregivers who don't care to give love, support, encouragement. This child is surrounded by insanity and screaming and hate and vile evilness. The woman, again, I use that term very lacy or loosely, who claims she knows everything about being a firefighter, everything about being an electrician, everything about being a politician, everything about everything in the world, now doesn't know that post-traumatic stress disorder is medical. I'm curious how all of those people who got frauded out of money for $6,000 to give to Saran Wrap because FLEASE and Deuce told all the viewers that this was going to be the end all. This is the savior of the world, just like Lips came in and saved them, right? Yeah. I chips. Oh my goodness. How many of these people are stuck at home that are shut-ins that have PTSD and gave money that they couldn't even afford, that were frauded? My word, no. FLEASE's word, yes. I realize she's stupid. I realize it's defrauded. How many of them are stuck at home? They have post-traumatic stress disorder and they were giving out of their own pockets, and now LIEnette is stating literally on the record what you have isn't a medical issue. I know you're watching. She's telling you who gave money that you don't have a medical issue. This is who you gave the money you couldn't even afford to give to. This is LIEnette. That's her real name. LIEnette. Randy goes, then what would you call it? If it's not medical, what are you going to call it, ma'am? She goes, it's psychological. Oh, she's psycho. There's no doubt. So Randy goes, okay, so then as you understand this, it's a psychological thing. This is not a medical condition at all. She goes, I'm not being argumentative. Yes, thank you. Now answer the question. I don't know. Well, you still have to answer the question. I don't know whether it's medical, whether it's psychological. I'm not sure. That's weird because she's the genius who graduated high school early and went on to college, which was all another lie. She debunked herself under oath. All right, do you have any other conditions that might affect your ability to recall events taking this deposition today? Yes, I have post-traumatic stress disorder. She already mentioned that. He asked if she had anything else. Okay. And is this a permanent condition? Yes. If I show you where something was said on the record in recalling, if I show you a document, would this affect your ability to let me know whether this is true or not, such as, did you sign this? And this is a legal document. Did you sign this, LIEnette MLA Preston? And do you understand that this is a major issue? Because I don't know what's true and what's not true if this is a condition that's affecting you. If you have post-traumatic stress disorder, would you be able to tell me what the truth even is? I don't believe I've lied at all. I'm trying to tell the absolute truth on everything. Randy goes, okay, well, I'm extremely concerned about your medical condition because this affects your ability to recall events and you're calling it post-traumatic stress disorder. Is that right? Yes, to my best of my knowledge. Okay. Randy said, okay. When you were first diagnosed with post-traumatic stress disorder, when did this happen, and what leads you to say under oath that your post-traumatic stress disorder causes you to have an effect to recall events? Now, I've never heard of post-traumatic stress disorder affecting anybody to be able to recall events. As a matter of fact, from my understanding, post-traumatic stress disorder is triggered by recalling events. Panic attacks, anxiety attacks, triggered by things that lead to those events. And I struggle with anxiety attacks. I understand this. Yesterday morning, I was almost paralyzed with an anxiety attack. After a couple hours, it was okay. I've learned to just work through it. Look at that, though. I could remember that happened yesterday morning. It did not affect my ability to recall anything. I remember how horrible it was. I remember when it started, through the process, when it ended. And yes, it's stress-induced. Okay. He wants to know when you're first diagnosed with post-traumatic stress disorder. What leads you to say under oath that your post-traumatic stress disorder causes you to have an effect to your ability to recall anything? I don't understand what you're asking me. Okay. Apparently PTSD now affects your ability to understand simple questions. When were you diagnosed? And what makes you think your diagnosis states that you can't remember stuff because of it? She goes, my brain never worked like that since I was a child. He goes, works like what? recalling years ago. My brain doesn't recall, doesn't maintain lots of memories from years ago. And he goes, but you said since you were a child. So she goes, let me rephrase. When I was a child, that's when it started. Oh, now she understands the question. Now she can actually answer it. When were you diagnosed? We still don't have a diagnosis yet. She's just saying it's a child. Okay, when you say it, what are you talking about? She goes, the post-traumatic stress disorder. I've been traumatized since childhood. I have post-traumatic stress disorder. Can we say this one more time? Post-traumatic stress disorder. I think we're going to. Quite a few times. I don't remember long-term things. Maybe some things, maybe not. It all depends. We don't all have a perfect memory, now do we? Randy goes, no, we all don't. But let's break this down a little bit because it's important, especially because you're under oath in a federal deposition. Your post-traumatic stress disorder caused you to not be able to recall something. That's what you're saying, correct? She goes, my memory doesn't allow me to maintain or keep long-term dates. Or things like that in my memory. I have a hard time recalling things from years ago. Yes, that's right, sir. I have too much trauma in my life and too much abuse. Hold a second. The fat toothless flea just told us that Crook would never do something like this. Yet here we are under oath on the record. Too much abuse in my life right now to maintain things. There's only two people in her life behind that great wall of Otter Creek. Crook and Harley. And we all have seen what she's said about Crook. Now, you see, this is a major issue right now because LIEnette just changed. She can't recall things from PTSD. Now it's because of abuse. Current abuse in her life. So her answer of how she cannot recall things went from PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder. Now she's changing it up mid-deposition to its current abuse in her life. Which is it? And of course, Randy is going to ask that question. Which is it then? Is it post-traumatic stress disorder from when you were a child? And then she interrupts again. He goes, do you not see I'm in the middle of a question right now? I said, which one is it? I started to speak, to ask the question. You came in, you interrupted me, which is constant. When I'm finished asking the question, then you can answer. Which one is it? Is it post-traumatic stress disorder or abuse in your life? When there's a pending question, I can have it read back to you, but when I'm in the middle of a question and you start to speak, that's not okay. When I'm done asking the question, you can answer the question. She goes, you asked a question, then you added more to it. It's hard to know the question ends and where another one begins. Which Randy has already told her. Her own lawyer has told her, stop, take a breath, pause. Do you understand? I mean, this eats up time off the deposition. If she just shuts up, that's less questions Randy can ask. He goes, ma'am, I'm in the middle of a question. So let's break it now because you've identified two conditions now in this deposition. You said that might affect your ability to recall and remember something. Number one, you said you have post-traumatic stress disorder from when you were a child. Now you're saying it's a current stress level from abuse. Right? She answers, post-traumatic stress disorder. I'm sorry, it just all goes along with the post-traumatic stress disorder. So apparently, the abuse that she is talking about at home, currently, she said currently, there's only one person, again, and a child, behind that great wall that could be causing this. Here she is throwing Crook under the bus again. Why does that Neanderthal stay? Well, he won't be staying. He's leaving. He will be kicked off the property, as will she. So Randy then goes on, okay, tell us everything that goes along with this post-traumatic stress disorder. Other than affecting your ability to recall events, what else is there? She goes, well, my brain does not recall something. I can't recall dates. I can't recall times, things like that. I don't maintain that my brain works like that. That's all I can answer. Her brain is broke. Her brain doesn't work. Her brain is broke. Maybe Crook's brain is broke too. Maybe that's how they stay together. They can't recall the abuse that they do to one another 5 minutes ago. They're like Dory. Hi, I'm Dory. Hi, I'm MLA. Hi, I'm Clara. Hi, I'm A. Hi, I'm M. I'm L. I'm a Wilson. I'm a Bennett. I'm a Carados. Insanity. Okay. Randy goes, but many times in this deposition, you've given answers to things about the past already. So I'm thinking, then she interrupts him again. Yes, sir. Randy goes, so I'm thinking, how do I know if you can recall it or not? She goes, because when you ask me a question, I either know it or I don't. Do you understand that a judge is going to see this? In other words, if I want to answer the question, I'm going to answer it. If I don't want to answer the question, I'm not going to answer it. That's what the judge is going to see. You understand we will most likely get a default judgment based on this. Based on this deposition, we are most likely getting a default judgment. They're kicked off the prop. They're done. We don't even have to go to trial now. Deuce, fleece, not a mistake. All that coaching you did to her, for her, oh yeah, that worked out really well. Randy goes, right. But this whole line of questioning began when you said, well, I have post-traumatic stress disorder. I don't recall events, but sometimes you do. How are we supposed to know whether you're being truthful or not? She goes, I am being truthful. No matter what you ask me, I'm not lying to you. So thank you. You understand that there's going to be a trial in this case, right? She nods, which does not work for a court reporter. A court reporter is looking down, listening, getting everything as fast as possible. And the only reason why I know she nods, I can't see anything because I'm writing as well, is because he goes, is that a yes? You just nodded. He goes, excuse me. How are we supposed to determine your credibility? You understand that, right? That this is a major issue. You give an answer one way. Later on, it turns out that the answer is false. You do agree with me that that's going to be a major factor in this trial, in this case. For anything to establish your credibility, now we have nothing. He goes, let me read the question back to you. Do you need it read back to you again? She goes, if you're asking me if I understand if I lied or not, I understand that a lie is a lie. Randy goes, I guess she needs the question repeated. And LIEnette is falling down in a trap that she created herself from the very beginning, being asked, is there any medical? Is there any medicines that you're on that you would never be able to recall, answer these questions? Remember, now she has post-traumatic stress disorder. But now it's not even the post-traumatic stress disorder. Now it's the abuse at home. And the only person at home is Crooky Boy. But not for long.